Bubba Watson played really, really smart. And this is a guy that's got a ton of talent, but he'd even tell you himself, half the time his focus is buckshot. It's not exactly laser. And for him to have a real specific idea of what he was trying to do, execute what he was trying to do, he's got so much length off the tee, he's going to just murder the par fives. He got out to 8 under, bogeyed the last hole. But he's played exceptional golf. And, we always talk about guys like Phil Mickelson. We're seeing Fred Couples, who's playing well at 54. There's guys that just come here that have won that always think they're going to have a chance. Bubba's going to have a chance every year that he plays here for the next, I don't even know, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years because of his length and his imagination.
Phil Mickelson's a +5 for the tournament. Physically, should he be out there?
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right.
Yeah?
Here's what happened to him. Yeah, what happened to him, Donnie, is simple. He made a 7 on the 7th hole yesterday, which was a complete fiasco. Mm-hmm. He made a 7 on the 15th hole, which is a par 5, and he got kind of stuck in a spot where you can make a big number. And then he made a triple bogey today on the 12th hole. He was spanking it all off from one bunker to another. So he's got 3 big numbers, and outside of that, he was fine. You can't afford to make a triple, a double, and a triple. He's got 2 triples and a double. I mean, there you go. There's 8 shots right there.
Now, it would be an unbelievable story if Fred Couples could pull this off at his age. He seems to love playing in Augusta, but the big question is, can his health hold up for 4 days? Can his back hold up for 4 days?
Yeah, that's the thing, Michael. I mean, and really, it's the question that's asked of anyone that's playing out here. Can you avoid a calamity like I was just talking about with Phil? Can you avoid a big number? Just a minute ago, before I came on with you guys, he had a shot on the par 3 12th, and when he won, famously and impossibly, he hit a shot that should have rolled back in the water and didn't go in. It stayed up on the bank, and just a second ago, different part of the hill, but it did the same thing. And, is that an omen? I have no earthly idea. In the last few years, he's been right here, plays himself in one of the last groups. But then, 4 days is a long time. And I don't think it's age or health as much as it's just hard to do. But he loves it, and these people love him, man. If he ever did it at this age, it would be just an absolutely insane story, and people here would go berserk for it.
Weather an issue at all the rest of the weekend?
Not only in the sense that it's perfect, and what it's going to mean, Don. Yeah, what it's going to mean, Don, is this: the golf course and the greens will be as fast as the club wants them to be. In other words, if they want to put some water on them and take a little fire out and give these guys a chance to score, then they can. But if they chose to just leave it alone and let the sun kind of bake things out, then it would really be hard. And I think that's maybe one of the misnomers, is that people think that this is an easy course. If they don't want it to be, it won't be. It'll be brutally difficult if that's what they want. But I think what they want and what they typically get is entertainment and some fireworks and some low scores. So my guess is that they're going to give them a shot over the course of the weekend.
Talking with Scott Van Pelt here on the Michael Kay Show. He is in Augusta covering the Masters for us. We had on Gary Player yesterday, Scott, and it was one of the more fascinating, enjoyable interviews. Our listeners just loved it. They were raving about it on Twitter. And one of the things that he said was that if he could talk to Tiger Woods, he said he could fix him and he would win a lot more majors. He said, I just would never bring it up to Tiger. Had you ever heard him say this before, and why wouldn't Tiger talk to him?
Well, Gary's an interesting guy. I mean, he's bombastic, and he's a legend in the game. But I mean, I'm not calling him out because he's Gary Player, but I don't know that there's any easy fix. Tiger listens to himself mostly, and it's worked out pretty well. So I mean, look, if Gary called him up and said, "Tiger, I can fix you tomorrow," then Tiger, all right, go ahead, Gary, what you got for me? But I mean, I don't know that he's necessarily going to seek out the counsel of anybody, frankly.
But what's interesting about what he said, he didn't think it was his place to go up and talk to him. And I find that to be the case in sports. There seems to be that fine line where the former player doesn't want to cross that line. I don't know whether they're afraid that they're going to be laughed at or not remembered, but it's funny how a legend in golf didn't think it was his place to talk to another legend to help him improve.
But he thought it was his place to go on your show in New York City and say it like it's not going to be, you know what I mean? Like I think, he didn't say it for no reason. He didn't. He chose to say it with you guys where he knows it's going to resonate and get an echo. So I mean, I think a guy like Gary's he's pretty secure in his status as what he is, which again is a legend in golf. Unlike a lot of sports, remembers its legends differently and I think more fondly than some others, frankly. But when it comes to Tiger, I've known the guy a long time. I mean, I said to him 100 years ago when it was 2000, he was winning by every major by a million shots, and he kind of started tweaking his swing. And I said to him, if you could throw 120, why would you try to figure out how to beat guys throwing a knuckleball? You know what I'm saying? Just keep throwing 120. No one can touch you. And his whole point was, you can always get better. And, he's only going to listen to himself. He's certainly going to listen to me for obvious reasons. But, I think that's interesting. I mean, Gary's an interesting guy. He's a fascinating guy, as I'm sure you and your listeners found out.
Well, Gary also said that he should not have messed with his game. He said that if he had stayed the same, he'd be at 25 majors right now.
I tend to agree with that. I mean, again, I don't know why what they were doing in 2000 wouldn't have continued to be just as untouchable. But he's changed his swing a number of different times, and now here we are without him this one. And if you cover golf, and I do, you just hope to see him get healthy, because having him in the mix is obviously preferable to not.
All right, give us your top three for Sunday. Who do you think is going to be up there?
Adam Scott has been looking really iffy today. I'll go with my heart and say Freddie, just because I would love it, because he's one of my all-time favorites. Bubba for sure, and then if it's Scott, it's great for TV. My guess is he hangs around. My guess is Adam gets in there. So give me that. Give me Couples, Watson, and Freddie, and I'm obviously kind of rooting just for the storylines, which is all you want when you're covering an event.